Here we go. OVE podcast time. Appreciate you. We're going live on a Monday post Super Bowl. I'm the Torg. You can hear me mornings. QFM 96. Sam will be back sometime this week. It's off season. I told you a couple weeks ago we had to raise funds for Sam, and we're going to have him back, I believe, Thursday and Friday this week. Appreciate everybody who has joined us on the new YouTube channel. Keep it going. YouTube.com at Ohio versus everyone. Subscribe, like, follow, share. Let's get the algorithms going. If you do subscribe to the podcast, today's your lucky day because we are doing free super chats. If you're a subscriber, let me know. Just say I'm a subscriber and boom. If you got something to add, we will pot you on today and put you up and talk about whatever you want to talk about. If you're hurt at work in an accident, let attorney Robert Schuerger go to war for you at warforyou.com. Today's poll question: in honor of the Blue Jackets, we went Saturday night. Me, Project Pat, and Sam. Should the Jackets go all in on the trade deadline? Aaron Portzline had a decent, pretty good article in The Athletic about what the Jackets plan to do at the trade deadline. They are off for about 2 weeks, so we'll talk about that in the second segment. Chiefs absolutely get destroyed by the Eagles 40-22, and a lot of fake stats, a lot of fake scoring in that one. This one wasn't even close, and this one was complete domination. And you have to start wondering on the Chiefs side if maybe they're a little overconfident because everybody thought the Chiefs were going to win. Now, I know the spread was a point and a half, and when you look at this Chiefs team, man, right from the get-go this season, and you know this, Bengals fan, Thursday night, open up the season, good win at home against Baltimore. Week 2, Cincinnati, they get the fourth down, minute left, pass interference call. Atlanta had a chance to, I think it was like first down at the 12, 22-17. They couldn't score. And a lot of close games for this Chiefs team. And it wasn't the hardest schedule in the league this year. Weak-ass division. I know Chargers are better. Broncos, right? But when you look at who they played, Saints, down 49er team, Raiders, lost to the Buffalo Bills, Carolina, Cleveland, Houston, Pittsburgh. A lot of close games, but completely dominated on Sunday. And dominated by a complete team win and dominated up front. Patrick Mahomes, 257 yards passing. Not even that. What do you have, like 38 at halftime? Because that game was over at half. But you have to start wondering if this team maybe was a little overconfident. Everybody was kind of handing it to them, talking about if this is a close game, that it's over, that no one's going to beat the Chiefs in a close game. It didn't even get that close. Jalen Hurts played great. No one gives this guy credit. If you go back in this season and people thought he was overrated, he wasn't good, he's not a top 10 quarterback, he exposed them one-on-one matchups. Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown. I mean, what he picked apart. What they wanted to do, the Chiefs defensively, is make sure Saquon Barkley didn't beat him. And what did Jalen Hurts do? He beat him with the legs. He found one-on-one coverage and exploited the Chiefs' corners and picked them apart. And defensively, Mahomes had zero time to pass. Zero time. There's a bunch of guys up front with the Philadelphia Eagles that are going to get paid. That was a complete dismantling, a complete team win. When you think about it, everybody was telling us that Patrick Mahomes was the new GOAT. Mahomes is the new GOAT. He's the new Brady. Now Mahomes is 3-2 in the playoffs. And I had people telling me last week that Andy Reid is the next Bill Belichick. Reid's the next Bill Belichick. Reid is great. Look what he's done with the Chiefs. He's reinvented himself. I didn't even realize until Tom Brady mentioned it in an interview before the Super Bowl that the Patriots went 10 years without a Super Bowl win in between their wins when they were dominating the NFL. 10 years between wins. Now, they got there, but it's a hard thing to do. And the Eagles just messed those Chiefs up. And if you're a Lions fan today, aren't you kicking yourself? Like, oh, we could have won that game. And I don't think the Chiefs are done. And I'm not going to dog them and say, well, this team's completely done. But sometimes we fall in love with a team, we fall in love with a story, and then we don't see the big picture of there's been teams in the NFL that win close games, win one-score games. We talked about the refs and the Chiefs. And listen, there was a lot of talk after the game about where the refs now. Well, they were first pass interference call, right? Where they called offensive pass interference against the Eagles. Chiefs kind of jumped off sides there on one of the field goal attempts by Jake Elliott. They ended up making it. I'm not saying the refs had anything to do with this game, but for the people out there going, where are the refs? Well, they were kind of there. But it was such an ass kicking, you couldn't do anything about it. I mean, an absolute ass kicking like never seen before. That was one of those in the Super Bowl where if it was halftime, 31-zip or 24-zip, you go to bed if you get up early, right? Or you stay up and watch the commercials, but you're really not vested in that game. And I know Kelsey and Patrick Mahomes thought at halftime they were going to somehow turn this around, and there was still Tom Brady. It was 31-zip with 3 minutes left in the third. And the funny thing is Brady was talking about how the Eagles were ready to score, by the way. And Brady was talking about how the Chiefs have to do hurry up offense because if they want to get back in this game, they have to score every possession. Brady, you are the Deshaun Watson of broadcasters. Dude, I don't like you. I don't want to hate on you. You're not a bad guy. You don't hear bad stories about Tom Brady. He's not banging strippers. It's not, you don't never see the guy like in a compromising position. Tom Brady's like a role model. I told my oldest one time, a couple weeks ago, be Tom Brady the person. That's who you strive for. Be Tom Brady the person. But Tom Brady, the broadcaster, $35 million a year, he's seen more lost in this game than ever before. And I hate to hate. I like Tom Brady. But boy, this wasn't that wasn't a good game for Tom Brady at all. Oof. Not a good broadcast. Commercials getting better from the Super Bowl side. I think we're seeing a shift in this country in general because we went to when it came to, we had the Janet Jackson stuff and showed a little nip for about 2 seconds. And we kind of went through a Super Bowl commercial thing where everything was safe. We didn't want to offend anyone. We didn't want to be funny anymore. Everything had to be serious. We had the Nationwide commercial where the kid was a ghost and you didn't have any funny. Nothing can be controversial when it comes to these Super Bowl commercials. And now I think you're starting to see fun again. Where we're shifting and we're not being as PC as we once were as a society. And I think we're going to see with the Super Bowl commercials, I think we're going to see a little bit more fun. You know, Gillis is doing commercials. Shane Gillis is doing the Bud Light commercial. Bud Light finally realized, like, we owned the Super Bowl commercials when it came to I Love You Man and the frogs and the guys dressed up as women and the What's Up. And we controlled that lane. And I am 100%, by the way, completely against the cancel culture of Bud Light. I just never drank it. I think it tastes like piss. Not that I know what piss tastes like. I've never been a Bud Light person. There's just no flavor there. It's like Coors Light. If you want to drink all night, open up a Coors Light and you're drinking water. But, you know, Bud Light got canceled because they sent promo cans to a transgender person and they made a video and drank them. I've mentioned this a million times. Liquor companies send personalities, engraved bottles, cans. I've gotten them before. I guess it was just kind of the temperature of the room we wanted to cancel Bud Light. But now Bud Light realized we got to be fun again. And we got to do funny commercials. And there was more fun. Like, there was no commercials that made you go, oh my God, that rivals some of the all-time greats. I think we're getting there where we're going to start having fun. But the commercial's better. Did you see Pfizer? Because everybody hates Big Pharma right now. Did you see Pfizer? They had the kid with the cancer, and he's with the boxing gloves, and he rings the bell and goes out. Pfizer was telling you, we have a commercial where the kid has cancer. You can't hate us. You got to like us. We're curing cancer with little kids. You got to like us. Nah, Pfizer, we still hate you. We still remember COVID. But there was stuff like not a lot of car commercials. I believe there was a Harrison Ford. There was a Glenn Powell, the dude from Top Gun. By the way, if you want to chime in some of your favorite Super Bowl commercials, chime in. The Seal one was super creepy. I was super creeped out with the Seal one. Nightmares. Waking up cold sweats with that one. And then you had the Super Bowl halftime show with, and there's two camps. And I'm not in either one of them. The Kendrick Lamar doing halftime. Folks, if you want to be the get off my lawn person and be the, oh, Kendrick Lamar, I don't like him, it's not for you. The Super Bowl halftime hasn't been for you in 10 years. I know they brought Snoop back. I know they brought Dr. Dre, but they're singing 45-second songs. They had those guys there with Eminem to give you a performance. Remember Katy Perry and the Left Shark? It's not about singing songs. The Weeknd's in a glass house. They got dancers. It's not about you seeing an artist you like and then putting on a great performance. That's not what it's about. It's about the dancers and Serena Williams dancing and Kendrick Lamar, and it's about the showmanship of the Super Bowl halftime show. That's what it is. Because I could tell you, if you're a Kendrick Lamar fan, you wanted it to be the greatest thing ever. I saw it on social media. This was the greatest Super Bowl halftime performance ever. No, it wasn't. But it wasn't the worst. If you thought it was the worst, you don't know his music. And it's all right. The NFL is trying to get younger for the next generation. My kids probably loved it. I'll have to ask, but my oldest is a huge Kendrick Lamar fan. He probably thought it was the greatest thing ever. But it's not about someone going out there and singing music anymore. It's about dance and glitz and glamour. And that's what it is. And if you want to be the get off my lawn person, I thought it was the worst thing ever. It wasn't the worst thing ever. Now, do I think it was the best thing? Or no, put in the Prince thing. There you go. It's raining and Prince is out there kicking ass with a do-rag on. Prince said it, and I don't think the NFL wants to go back to Aerosmith singing. I think they like the Timberlakes and the pop artists and the new generation of football fans. Grandpa, the Foo Fighters isn't coming back for the halftime show. As much as I love Foo Fighters, can go to any stadium across the country and sell out. Foo Fighters aren't playing the halftime show because they're not for you. They're not. The NFL is not looking to service the 40-plus people. I say it all the time. I do mornings on QFM 96. And we will get the emails and messages from the people who I know, like they will mention, well, I listened to Pat and John, and I listened to Daddy Wags back in the day. I know who that audience is. It's over 65, and they don't even measure in the ratings. Not that I care what they think. I want them to listen, but they're not in the ratings. I get someone complain, oh, Daddy Wags would never. Okay, hey, I'm good. I'm friends with Wags. I see him. We'll talk for a long time. Much respect. He's a legend. But when the old timers think they have a say on my show and send an angry message, they're over the demo. They don't count in the ratings. They really don't. So it's like, all right, you're angry. You're 70 years old and get off my lawn. You don't equate in the ratings. So do I want you to watch and listen? Yes, I do. But in the grand scheme of things, every month when I'm judged, you don't count. And that's the same thing with the Super Bowl halftime show. I don't count. I'm a 50-year-old male. White male. They don't want me. If you're watching this podcast, they probably didn't want you either with the Super Bowl show. They are looking for the next generation. They're looking for the buzz. They're looking about talk. That's what Kendrick Lamar did. And one more thing on the halftime show. I saw videos today of people going out and saying, if you didn't understand his message, you're part of the problem. Screw you. You're part of the problem for even bringing it up. I go on social media today. If you didn't like the halftime show or didn't understand his message, you're part of the problem. By the way, CW2, Iron Maiden, I could handle a little bit of that. I could handle, actually, if they did some serious, and I'm not a huge heavy metal guy. I'm a huge rock guy. But if they did like a Metallica, Pantera sings Walk, everybody knows that tune, right? Iron Maiden would probably have to do a safe song. Fat Axl, well, Skinny now. Little GNR. But I could handle like a 4-artist heavy metal halftime show. And by the way, Cowtown, I get where the 38 and age spend the money. I agree with you. They do spend the money, and you're right. Because you look at, I'm in the target demo. My radio station is in the money spenders. You're right, but that's not, they have your money, is the point I'm making. The NFL's not catering to 38 plus because they have that audience, is what I'm saying. They're trying to get the next audience in. They have you. They you know, and I don't know how old you are, but they have the male. They have the male who watched the Cowboys dominate, who watched Joe Montana, who watched the Patriots. They have you. My point is, it's not for you because they're trying to bring in the younger artist, The Weeknd, people like that. That's what I mean about it's not for you, meaning they want to bring in the R&B hip hop guy because they got your money. They want other generation's money. So they want to be hip. That's why they love Taylor Swift at the game. They love Taylor Swift. Sit next to Ice Spice, they love that. The NFL eats that up. And by the way, the people mentioning like, and she did get absolutely destroyed by the fans, but there were a lot of Eagle fans there. I'm not a Swiftie. I've been to a Taylor Swift concert. I have a daughter. I mean, when she was 10, Daddy, take me to Taylor Swift. If you have a daughter out there, you do whatever your daughter wants as a dad. You do. I've been to boy bands. I've been to Taylor Swift. If my daughter wanted me to see Pinocchio on ice, I would see Pinocchio on ice. It's what we do as dads. So I'm not a hater of Taylor Swift, but boy, did she get absolutely brutalized yesterday. But all in all, Super Bowl commercials better. If you're a Kendrick Lamar fan, you loved it. If you weren't, I don't know. I mean, I didn't think it was the worst thing in the world. It's a Super Bowl halftime show. It's not for me. I know I'm not their target demo that they're trying to reach. I would like the CW2 doing Iron Man. I would like Foo Fighters. I would love Foo Fighters. Billy Joel. Give me Billy Joel. But they're not going to do that. Because it's we're not the demo. You will go ask, have you seen this video? There's a video out and it was trending where this guy goes into his office and he's asking people, name me the 4 Beatles, right? And you're probably watching this going, well, the Beatles, I can name all 4 Beatles and I could probably name all the wives they had. And I think maybe 2 out of the 10 under 30 people knew who the Beatles were. Like and I don't think anyone got all 4. I'm just saying 2 of the 10 got a couple Beatles. Woo. Yeah. I mean, my kids know the Beatles, but I'm teaching them. I mean, they have albums. My oldest collects vinyl. But the game itself, absolute turd. And total domination by Philadelphia, and there's nothing you could do today but talk about how Philadelphia was the dominant team. If you follow the NFL like I do, and I'm watching 3 games a weekend, 4 games a weekend, I'm following this league. You remember early on when the Eagles struggled, I think off the top of my head, they might have been 2-2, where people were talking about Nick Sirianni firing him, and he's fighting with fans. Dude, he knows his audience. He really does. He's perfect for that team. Vic Fangio gets off the hump. I think he was like 0-8, 0-9. Great defensive game by the Eagles. That is a stacked team, man. And I don't know, maybe it's because the Chiefs were going for 3 in a row and the Eagles mentioned that they motivated them. I think we didn't give the Eagles enough credit coming into this game. Because Mahomes, that's good, right? He's that good. And you could say, well, the referees, but come on. Mahomes is that good. Now, I think Travis Kelce being a premier player, I think that's over. They are going to have to go in the NFL draft, boom, left tackle. Boom, replace your right guard. He's leaving. He's a free agent. He's going to get paid. Maybe not as much after this game. But you're going to have to fix that offensive line, and you're going to have to reinvent yourself. The Patriots reinvented themselves several times. The Steelers, even though I think Big Ben won, 2 or 3? The Steelers reinvented themselves many times. The Chiefs have to reinvent themselves. They have to, because this team's not good enough to beat Philadelphia. This team's not good enough to beat the Lions. You know where the Chiefs are at, and this is not a disrespect, your Green Bay and Minnesota level in the NFC, where you had the Lions and you had the Eagles. Lions were banged up defensively this year. You have those top teams, and then I think there's a second tier of Chiefs, Bills, Vikings, Packers. Maybe not the Vikings, but maybe not the Packers either. But the Chiefs are a second-tier team. But as long as they have their coaches in place, and as long as they have Patrick Mahomes, they will absolutely reinvent themselves. But he looked lost yesterday. And you could tell me how great Andy Reid is as a coach. They did not make the adjustments. You knew watching that game, right? That Mahomes was under pressure, and they needed to call plays to combat what the Eagles were doing, getting dominated up front. Where was the screen pass? Where was the simple stuff? Where was the 1-2-3 drop? Because it wasn't available. Mahomes was looking for the home run and spending too much time, and he didn't have any time. Andy Reid, and it's all right to criticize people, because two things can be true. Andy Reid's a great coach and just called a poor game. Both things can be true. Absolutely 100%. They did not do the necessary adjustments, and Mahomes was not good. And when Mahomes is not good, this team can't win when Mahomes is not good. And when the magic's not there, like it wasn't on Sunday, the Mahomes magic wasn't there. He had a bad game. And the offense had a bad game. And the defense, not good. But they've won Super Bowls different ways. Offensively, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, good running game. Now they don't have the running game. Worthy's going to be a young star, and he's going to be good. But Travis Kelce's a shell of himself right now. And that defense that was so dominating the last 2 Super Bowls, that defense isn't dominated anymore. They'll figure it out, and they'll be back. But this is just a different Chiefs team, and they got exposed. A lot of close games, like I mentioned. A lot of calls that helped them pull out games. The Cincinnati game, even though it was pass interference. The Bills game. Getting a little luck, earning the luck, because they deserve it. They're the 2-time champs coming in. You deserve those calls. But there were no ref help in this one. A dismantling of this team. Poll question, should the Jackets go all in on the trade deadline? This is from an Aaron Portzline article in The Athletic. Got some Buckeye talk to get to today. A big honor for Jim Trestle if you're just tuning in. That we'll get to. NFL Network has targeted the next Browns quarterback. And what are the Buckeyes going to do with their defensive coordinator? A busy show. We're back in 60 seconds on the OVE podcast.
We go to war for you.
At Schuerger Trial Attorneys, we don't back down. Accident? Call us today at 877-WAR-FOR-YOU or visit warforyou.com for a free consultation. Know your rights because results matter. That's 877-WAR-FOR-YOU. 877-WAR-FOR-YOU or visit warforyou.com.
War for you, warforyou.com.
Denrob Management has over 40 years experience in all aspects of payroll, processing checks, tax filing, W-2 and 1099 preparation. First-time customers get 50% off their first 3 months processing fees. Give them a call now, 614-297-1158, or denrobmanagement.com. For the OVE podcast, Ohio versus everyone, I'm the Torg. Listen to me mornings, QFM 96. Appreciate you. Met a lot of people who listened to the pod at the Blue Jackets game on Saturday night. Appreciate it, man. Tell your friends. I did sports radio for a long time in this city. If you enjoyed me doing sports radio, tell people to tune in. So this is the off season. Sam will do Monday, Thursday, Fridays. I know King Rich is going to do Wednesday with me, and I think Zach's going to join me tomorrow. So we had great numbers. Because of you, we now can do Super Chat. Zach just has to contact YouTube and get that set up. We're still part of the Menace family. So we'll get Super Chat going here by the end of the week. But good numbers on Friday. And just subscribe, like, build in the new channel. YouTube.com at Ohio versus everyone. Remember the website, the OVEpodcast.com. No www. I swear to you, I'm going to give that Urban helmet away this week. I'm just going to pick a name. We'll do it. You got to come to the station and pick it up. Today's poll question, we're not going to spend a lot of time today. Sam's a big Blue Jacket fan. I'm a realist when it comes to the Blue Jackets. But a lot of people were completely flat wrong on social media today when we threw this out. Should the Jackets go on in the trade deadline? Aaron Portzline, Don Waddell, the GM said, yeah, we got 2 first-round picks open for business. We're going to trade one of them. We want an established player multi-years. We got 2 third-round picks, 2 fourth-round picks. Yeah. We're going to be players and going to be buyers. And everybody on social media is telling me, no, it's part of the process. We're not ready yet. I am so sick of that. So sick of the waiting game. What is the 14th pick in the first round or the 28th pick that Minnesota has going to do for you as a franchise? Oh, it gives us another prospect. Take a look at some of the draft picks that the Jackets have had and struck out like 18th, 19th overall. If you can get a top 6 player, even a top 9 player, a wing, you're in desperate need. There's going to be teams, and the Jackets have plenty of cap money, going to be plenty of teams that want to move salary. Maybe a guy's not working out. Maybe he's not living to his contract. Maybe you just want to free up some cap space. Maybe you want to make some moves. Maybe you're just on a rebuilding mode, and you underachieved this season and you want to rebuild and want an extra first-round pick and like, hey, this guy's got 2 years left on his deal. Let's do it. Jackets absolutely have to do this for 2 reasons. One, you have to let everybody know in that locker room that you support them and that, hey, if you're close, we're going to make a deal to bring people in. And 2, you have to start getting grown-ass men in leadership in that locker room in case something happens again like this year where everybody's dropping like flies. You have grown-ass men in that locker room and ready to play. Too young. Team's way too young. Forget this. Oh, we're young. We're building. You got enough of that now. Build with these young guys. Trade a first-round pick. I don't care if you trade 2. And then another thing I'll add on to that. Trade your 3rd and 4th round pick and get a guy who's a rental player. I don't care. You need leadership in that room. Bring a veteran. Bring a guy in who's won cups. Show because right now what's happened in the last 3 games is they got no buzz. They got no juice. They're not flying around. This isn't a playoff team. It's not even a contending playoff team. But bring in some veterans who give you a little juice and show the young guys, this is how you play down the stretch when you're playing for a playoff spot. No, they're back. They're in the back. You lose 3 straight against bad teams or against teams you should beat. But you're 50 games in. You've been playing relevant hockey. Go out there, trade a first-round pick, trade a third-round pick for a rental, re-sign the guys you want to sign, a couple defensemen, Provorov, re-sign them. Olivier, re-sign them. And you'll still have plenty of cap space for next year. But I'm so sick of this. Oh, Torg, we got to build a young. No, you don't. You got the young core. You don't need to get younger. You got Caden Lindstrom. You drafted 4th overall. I'm so sick of the young, let's build this crap. Get a guy, multiple years, top 6 forward. Start being aggressive. You're going to get some guys after the break back, a couple guys. Start adding to it. Start getting some juice. They are playing flat right now. Why is that? because they don't have the leadership there. They need some juice. Ryan Day came out and mentioned that he hopes to have a defensive coordinator this week. I am a little surprised that they moved quicker on the offensive coordinator than the defensive coordinator, because there was a lot of thought of, you got two guys in-house. And I was told that Ryan Day does not want to change up the defense. He wants to, and you got Guerrieri, who has been with Jim Knowles before, been with this staff, 35 years old. You got an in-house guy. And then you got Tim Walton, in-house guy. And I'm sure they're interviewing for the job. They are in the top 5 list of defensive coordinators. I'm just curious of, maybe Ryan Day doesn't want to name one guy. Maybe one guy would be better at the other. I don't know. But it's time to name your defensive coordinator. You want to go out. You want to hire Bates from Pittsburgh. Bad year this year, but they've had pretty good defenses at Pitt. But time to finish your staff, right? Keenan Bailey named co-offensive coordinator. Got to continue with the tight end coach. That was his role this past year. Still need that defensive coordinator. The guys from Menace mentioning that LaCharles Bentley is going to be hired as your assistant offensive line coach. He's working with Carson Hinsman, if you've seen that video online. These guys now are making enough money where they can get the private coaches, right? You're making $400-500. Get the private coaches. If you can't work with your coach, if I'm making $400-500 a year, yeah, I'm getting the private coaches. Because why? If I'm a junior making $400, $400,000, I want to make $800,000 my senior year. If I'm a younger guy on this team, I look at all the upperclassmen who got paid this year, $1 million, $800,000, whatever it is. And I strive to be that guy on the field and in the pocketbook. I want to be that guy. I want to be my junior, senior year in a position where you pay me to come back. Championship team comes with it because you're at Ohio State. But I look at the Jack Sawyers, the JTTs, guys like that, they got paid. I'm going to do everything in my power now. Sonny Styles should be the same way. Sonny Styles should be at it. Listen, I'm going to work out at the Woody. I don't have a direct involvement with the coaches. Everybody's keeping an eye on me. But I'm going to hire a personal guy like Hinsman did with LaCharles Bentley. You know how many NFL offensive linemen work with LaCharles Bentley in the offseason? I love that Hinsman's working with LaCharles Bentley. I would like to, I don't know, honestly, who's working with who. But now that you're getting paid and you're putting some money in your pocket, hire the personal position coach guys to work with you. There's damn high school guys. Greg Fry, Brady Quinn. They've worked with players. Greg Fry still does it. There are guys all over this city that coaches high school kids. Get the personalized coach. Big fan of it, especially when you're getting paid. More Buckeye news. And a lot of people call Jim Trestle the governor. Dude's lieutenant governor, if you missed it. Mike DeWine made Jim Trestle lieutenant governor today. I'm not a political guy. I know Vivek Ramaswamy's running. He's kind of the Trump guy. This is a Trump state. And Mike DeWine, not the most popular guy, but DeWine named Tress. And you got to wonder, is Tress going to run for governor of Ohio? Because as big as this state is, and I'm not a political guru. I don't like politics. I don't like people posting about politics. I don't care what your politics are. But it's interesting to see if the young Trump guy, the rebel, kind of what the Republican Party's turning into, or the guy you trust more than anyone, Jim Trestle, that has, unlike First Energy Mike, Jim Trestle has integrity, right? It'll be interesting to see if Jim Trestle wants to take it to the next level and then run for governor of Ohio, of a Vivek Ramaswamy, Jim Trestle, who you voting for. Let me know in the chat. I'm just curious. if those two, because it's going to be one of those two guys. The left doesn't have a chance in Ohio. But it'd be interesting. Jim Tressel's so loved. He's so honest that maybe you do vote for Jim Trestle over the young upstart mega candidate. Interesting. I just thought it was interesting. Jim Trestle, lieutenant governor today. Holy crap. Super cool. I know people, Sam has tightness with the Trestle family. I have a uncle who's a president of the university, loves Jim Trestle, a guy of integrity. That's something new in politics, huh? It'll be interesting. And Jim Trestle was always a politician when he was coach. And remember, he's been president of universities, athletic director of universities. I just never thought that Jim Trestle would take that next step. Now, listen, I don't know what the lieutenant governor does. I don't know what kind of power he has. I'm assuming it's like the vice president of the United States, right? But this Trestle thing, and by the way, Trestle and Trestle. Trestle, if he decides to run, I think he's your next governor. This state loves Jim Trestle. Now, Ramaswamy, if you've seen this dude, he's smart, man. He was on a podcast a couple months ago and schooled Mark. And I don't think Mark Cuban's a dummy. I think Mark Cuban's really smart, but absolutely schooled Mark Cuban. Ramaswamy's a really smart dude, but Jim Trestle has integrity. People love him. Jim Trestle cares about this state. Not saying Vivek does not, but it'll be interesting to see what Jim Trestle does in the future. All right, the Browns, there have been two. NFL Network has named two quarterbacks of the Browns. We'll spend more time on this. King Rich is doing the show on Wednesday. We're going to talk more about this. But the NFL Network has named two Browns targets. These are the guys. Remember, Andrew Berry says you're a quarterback away, Browns fans. We'll tell you who they are next on the OVE podcast. Hey, it's Torg for Custom Air. You know, when it comes to my HVAC system, I don't trust just anyone. I trust Custom Air. These guys are fast, reliable, and they know their stuff. Fall's just around the corner, and now's the perfect time to make sure your HVAC equipment is running at its best. Don't wait until it's too late. Get ahead of the game. I wouldn't trust anyone else with my home, and neither should you. Visit them on the web at customairco.com and keep your home comfortable all season long. Custom solutions, custom comfort, Custom Air. Thinking of buying or selling a home? Give Lauren Torgerson a call with NextHome Experience. Lauren has been servicing the Columbus metropolitan area for 10 years. So whether you're a first-time home buyer, considering building, want to upsize or downsize, Lauren can help you with all your real estate needs. Get a free market analysis for your area and get started working on making tomorrow's dreams happen today. Call or text Lauren at 614-296-3952, 614-296-3952, or email at togersonlauren@gmail.com. Monday show on the OVE podcast, Ohio versus everyone. I'm the Tor. Listen to me mornings, QFM 96. Appreciate your support. Remember, subscribe, like, follow, share. Boy, what a rough weekend if you are the Browns. Not only did Myles Garrett do the media tour of I want to get the hell out of Cleveland, but then he did it on Sunday again and doubled down. There were reports Saturday that the Browns are taking calls, but they're telling teams Myles Garrett's not available. And then so Myles Garrett goes all in on Sunday, and I'm going to do the pregame shows. I'm going to really let Cleveland know I don't want to be there. And in typical Cleveland fan fashion, and I don't disagree with this, the media and the fans have now turned on Myles Garrett. I told you last week, I talked to guys who covered this team. The only way this would be salvageable is if the Browns gave Myles Garrett a mega guaranteed contract. It's not going to get resolved. It doesn't matter if the Browns want to trade him or not. I don't think Myles Garrett plays for the Browns. I think he is dug in. This has been going on for a while, according to my source. And Andrew Berry came out and said, well, we wouldn't take 2 first-round picks. And Myles Garrett desperately wants to get out of Cleveland. So he came out with the statement, and he is doing all the interviews under the sun to let everybody know I want out of Cleveland. And the fans are now starting to turn. See, the Browns fans are a special bunch. And the Browns fans love people who are loyal to the Browns. Bernie Kosar. Love Jameis Winston, even though he sucks. Baker Mayfield fooled everybody, and you thought he was one of you. Baker Mayfield fooled you. Baker Mayfield would have came back to the Browns. He wanted $50 million a year. That's what you'd pay. Baker's not worth $50 million a year. But Baker's one of us. No, he's not. He just told you what you wanted to hear. But Nick Chubb said, I want to sign with the Browns. Of course he does, because did you see Nick Chubb this year? I'd want to retire with the Browns too. I'd go anywhere that anyone signed me. And that's not a disrespectful thing. He's what, top 3 or 4 all-time rushing for the Browns, but he can't play anymore. Maybe he could play, but he's on the wrong side of the age thing with running backs, too many damn injuries, and he just didn't look fresh last year. He looked like a guy who has suffered multiple knee injuries. And you know it too if you watch. Nick Chubb's done, right? He wants to come back. But the NFL Network came out, and they identified who the Browns' targets at quarterback are next year, because Andrew Berry came out, and he has told Jimmy Haslam, we are a quarterback away. Still a quarterback away. And you didn't want to address it this year when you actually were a quarterback away. You brought in 40 touchdowns, 40 interceptions, 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. You thought if Deshaun doesn't get it done, that Jameis Winston will be that guy. What the hell were you thinking? You didn't even want to offer Joe Flacco. He mentioned in interviews Cleveland didn't even contact him because you were too worried about Deshaun Watson's fragile ego that you didn't want to have Flacco back. That locker room was in desperate need of some leadership. Joe brought that to you last year, but you couldn't have it. So then you stuck with the guy, Deshaun Watson, who torpedoed your locker room. Should have brought in Flacco. You wouldn't be in this situation. Now, Flacco wasn't good this year. I saw his starts. But at least it would have been veteran leadership. Jameis Winston's not a leader. Jameis Winston's riding a bike on Fox in the Super Bowl. Jameis Winston's funny. I like Jameis Winston's personality. But Jameis Winston's not a leader. Jameis Winston's not taking you to the playoffs. And neither are the two guys that the NFL Network mentioned for your next quarterback, Browns fans. Daniel Jones. Does that scream, if you're a Browns fan, that's name one. Daniel Jones, does that scream we're back in the playoffs to you? Now, Daniel Jones will come cheap. You'll probably afford him. So you're looking for two things. You're looking for a guy you think can win, one, and then a guy you can afford. And I guess from a name recognition standpoint and how cheap he'll be, I got Daniel Jones is available. But do you really think if Andrew Berry's selling to your franchise or selling to Jimmy Haslam, I think you Browns fans are smart enough to know that Andrew Berry's full of shit, right? That you're more than a quarterback away. But you're not making the decision. All Andrew Berry and Paul DePodesta have to do is convince Jimmy Haslam. So they have convinced him that you are a quarterback away. And that quarterback is Daniel Jones. That we're going to bring it back. Same GM, same coach. We're bringing it back. We have no money. We get the 2 overall pick. All right, we're going to take Abdul Carter probably. We don't need a quarterback. We don't need to draft a quarterback. We got the fix at quarterback, Daniel Jones. That's the pick. Now, this is the NFL Network. This is not me saying this. But it makes sense to me that they would bring in Daniel Jones. The other name brought, I don't like this one either for the Browns, Kirk Cousins. Now, Kirk Cousins would be a situation just like Russell Wilson last year with the Steelers. Probably pay for the minimum, play for the minimum as long as he's the starting quarterback. I could totally see this. He has a background with Kevin Stefanski. The problem is in Minnesota, when Kirk Cousins was a top 10 quarterback, and he was, statistically, he was a really good quarterback in Minnesota. Bubble 10 to 12. Had seasons where he completed 70% of passes. But here's the difference. In Minnesota, and he had a lot of different coordinators in Minnesota. Kirk Cousins, people go, oh, Baker's got 7 coordinators in 7 years. So did Kirk Cousins. He's had the same amount of revolving door offensive coordinators that Baker Mayfield has, probably more. But what Kirk Cousins had is better offensive line than what the Browns have, not with Callahan as coach, but right now, a better offensive line, better running game, Dalvin Cook, who was really good. Not Dalvin Cook now, Dalvin Cook 3 years ago. Dalvin Cook, athletic, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson. Weapons. Kirk Cousins had weapons in Minnesota. He had a run game. Receivers. Now, tell me Kirk Cousins older now. Said he had last week came out, said he had a bum elbow, got sacked in 10th week and wasn't healthy. Coming back from the Achilles, he said the Achilles was fine. Had a bad elbow injury, 10th week. Now I'm healthy. Okay, Kirk Cousins is healthy. But this isn't the same Kirk Cousins that was in Minnesota. You have second overall pick. Offensively, there ain't going to be a guy there, Travis Hunter. I'm hearing conflicting reports. I'm hearing that Travis Hunter is going to be a lockdown corner and play every snap defensively and 10 offensive snaps. Now I'm hearing that if the Browns take Travis Hunter, he's going to be a primary wide receiver and only play defense a little bit because they already have corners in Cleveland. So he's your receiver of the future, your number one receiver, and that's what Travis Hunter's playing if Cleveland drafts him. So Kirk Cousins, Travis Hunter, Jerry Jeudy. Jerome Ford. And what I mean is that what Andrew Berry's selling to Jimmy Haslam to go, all right, we're going all in. We got Kirk Cousins. We're not going to take a quarterback at number 2. We're going to get defense. Maybe Myles Garrett's here. Maybe he's not. Maybe they want Carter and Myles Garrett. They work out a contract thing. We're going to go, boom, 2 bookends, and we're going to wreak havoc on the quarterback. And then Kirk Cousins is going to run this offense. Kirk Cousins is not going to run that offense. Will they win 7 games? Yes. But you're trying to sell me that this is a playoff contending team and we just need a quarterback. And is Kirk Cousins or Daniel Jones going to appease Myles Garrett? Is Myles Garrett going to look at it and go, all right, I'm not going to get traded, but you went out and got Kirk Cousins, and that I think you're a Super Bowl contender. Give me the guaranteed money. I'm staying. Does that move the needle for Myles Garrett? Kirk Cousins, because I could totally see Kirk Cousins saying, hey, Atlanta's paying my salary. I'm going to pull a Russell Wilson, pay me the minimum. Cleveland can afford that. I'm going to try to, I know Kevin Stefanski. I'm going to take a 1-year deal. I'm going to try to extend my career, have a good year in Cleveland. Maybe Cleveland re-signs me after this. Maybe I have a good enough year where Cleveland re-signs me, or I go somewhere else and I can become a starter and then play 2 more years and then retire. Because God knows everybody's paid me enough money. I can retire now. I just don't know if those 2 names move the needle, but they're probably the best you could get. So Daniel Jones, Kirk Cousins, Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward. What are you doing if you're the Browns? Are you going rookie quarterback? I'm going all in rebuild. But the Browns aren't doing that. So that's why you're going to see Daniel Jones or Kirk Cousins your quarterback. And one thing, too, those are not automatic from the standpoint of, believe it or not, those 2 guys will probably have options. And a lot of quarterback needy teams out there. There's probably about 8 of them. Kirk Cousins might have a better situation and might not want to go to Cleveland. The Kevin Stefanski tie-in helps. But those are the names you're looking at according to the NFL Network. I don't know if that moves the needle for me if I'm Myles Garrett. I don't know if the Browns are in let's appease Myles Garrett and make him happy mode. Meaning, all right, we'll get Travis Hunter, we'll get Kirk Cousins, or we'll get Abdul Carter, and we'll get you another pass, we'll get you help so you're not triple teamed, double teamed. Are the Browns, because Myles Garrett might say, I don't even want to talk to you guys. Don't try to appease me. Because I think we're at the point for Myles Garrett when you're at the NFL and you're doing all these interviews of I went out. I think in Myles Garrett's mind, there's nothing this team can do that can make me want to stay. because those options aren't good enough. I don't believe Myles Garrett is there. He doesn't believe they're a contender. But the Browns believe they're a contender, or at least Andrew Berry has sold that to keep his job to Jimmy Haslam. And two, another development too that makes this interesting about the Myles Garrett trade front. If you're going to trade 2 first-round picks, the Cowboys have had discussions about trading Micah Parsons. Honest truth be told, I'm not being a hater here. If I'm giving up 2 first-round picks for a player, it's Micah Parsons. Significantly younger, 3-4 years younger, can do more versatile. Now, you're going to have to – both guys are going to be in the similar highest-paid defensive player in the league with Nick Bosa. They are going to be in that. But if you're going to make the guy the highest-paid defensive player, who are you doing, Micah Parsons or Myles Garrett? So now there's added competition in the trade market. Dallas has just had discussions on it. But if you're Dallas, say you're going to go CeeDee Lamb, Prescott, Micah Parsons, like 3 of the highest paid guys in their position, you can't afford that. So Dallas is looking at, like, how do we get better and still maintain our competitive edge? Well, that's trading in for 2 first-round picks, right? Really good defensive line draft. But if they want, can you get us another player? We'll give you Micah Parsons. You give us a first-round pick, give us another player. He is going to be really sought after. Both these guys are. The difference is Dallas will play ball. I don't think Cleveland will. I don't think Cleveland's competent in their front office to play ball and know what's best for the franchise. I think bad moves are made when people are trying to save their job, because then you make foolish moves for fool's gold, where they're not. It's not long term, and Andrew Berry doesn't give a crap about long term. He is convinced, Jimmy Haslam, that the time is now, that they can win now. And you suffer for it. The fan base, because you got to watch that crap. That's what you're watching. Back tomorrow, Zach's going to join us. Zach Smith talks some Buckeyes, first segment of the show, 3 o'clock hour. Good stuff today. By the way, appreciate the support. Subscribe, like, follow, share. And with Sam being out the majority of the offseason, if you got podcast experience, want to do the pod, hit me up, the OVE podcast at gmail.com if you're interested. We'll tape a segment behind the scenes, see if you work out. You come in, fill in, do the show with me. Let them live, my guys. All right, we're back tomorrow on the OVE podcast. Appreciate it.
Well, of course. I mean, there's nothing better than being American. So, I mean, this is the greatest feeling. If you don't love it, leave it. USA, #1.